Yeah, I've noticed that right now on the internet, on YouTube, and many other locations, there's so many of these no-till cardboard layering videos. And they are completely misrepresenting the actual truth. And let me explain. They are describing this method as being fantastic, energetic, saving you lots of time. All those things are 100% correct. But what they don't tell you is they constantly have to add new compost on top of their cardboard. So I'm making a statement that this no-till and cardboard nonsense is hurting your original soils. And that is very concerning for me, because your original soil, and a lot of times original soils are very, very good. They've had lots of things growing in them. They are very energetic. They do incredibly well when you put some seeds inside them. But let's say it's overgrown, it's full of weeds. So then they want to just have a simple solution, put a cardboard on top, and start gardening on top of it. So I'm going to put a little diagram together and explain why this no-till gardening with the cardboard is actually killing your original soil. And that's a really big consideration for me, is to lose my original soil and have to constantly go out and buy 4 inches of good compost every year. There is a disconnection there that isn't logical for me. My original garden is my original garden. It has a value. It has a energetic value. It has a monetary value. So why would I ignore my original soils? And if I have a longer plan, if I want to live in a place for 10 years or 5 years, I want all my soil, a whole meter of it being fantastic, not just 4 inches every year. I believe in conditioning your entire garden for success. Okay, I want to have a discussion that's very important to me personally, and that has to do with no-till gardening and this extensive use of cardboard as this skin or protective layer or separator. And it bothers me a lot because it defies nature. It goes against nature. It is not something that happens all the time in nature. So I want to really get into it, and I want to describe some things that that might be able to persuade you that no-till and the extensive use of cardboard might not be the best way for your garden. So let's get into it. Okay, I'm going to simulate this very simple. This is your soil, your old soil, and you put 2 layers of cardboard on top. So you come back now and you put your new compost on top. And this new compost is charged with energy. So what happens now is, with these 2 layers of cardboard and this new layer of compost on top, I'm suffocating my original soil. Because what I've done now is I've had my oxygen is in this area and not in my old soil anymore. So everything that lives in here that I was trying to protect by not digging it is slowly starving and suffocating. Starving because the water doesn't get through as well, and suffocating because it's not getting the oxygen it was used to, so it's changing. So by not including these 2 soils together, I'm slowly drying out my original soil, and I'm slowly killing off all the life in the soil. So by having this cardboard, I'm actually destroying the reason why I'm not tilling this. And that makes no sense. If I don't till this because I want to save everything that's in here, then I'm not going to put this on top and put cardboard on top. I'm going to include this in this mix. So instead of doing this, I'm going to get rid of all this mess. And I'm going to have the new compost on top of my original bed. And if I wanted to, I can have this area here, just the very top for example, I could mix this in slightly with a rake or a hoe. Now all of a sudden I've got 4 inches plus let's say 3 inches or 2 inches of soil that is connected to each other. So when I put a carrot in here, and this is the new top of soil, the carrot's going to be here, and it's going to grow into this area. So all of a sudden now, my carrot can actually be 10 inches long instead of 4 inches long, because it's entering the old zone. Now what happens is, the energy in the new compost is slowly moving into this zone, into the original soil, and it's charging it with life. That's number one. Number two, the microorganisms are going to move into this space. They're going to move up because they say, hey, there's a lot more energy, new energy, higher up than down below. So I'm actually getting my micronutrients and my protozoa and everything to move up a little bit higher. So guess what? With more growth in here, when I have more plants growing in here, more carrots, then all of a sudden, they're going to attract, they're going to create new energy for everything that lives in the soil. So by including my original soil in the concept of creating this, I have now a zone of 50 centimeters, let's say, half a meter of active soil, compared to 4 if I would have done the composting method. The reason for the no-till method and the putting the compost on top of the cardboard is I have 4 inches or 6 inches of energy in here, and I'm not including this. So everything I grow depends on this zone here. The carrots aren't going to go through the cardboard. They're going to be in the ground up high. And that's why you see these no-till gardeners with the cardboard always growing lettuce and shallow crops. Plants that use very little space to grow their roots. Lettuce and all kinds of other plants that are like really shallow rooted. So, why are they doing this? Why are they doing this no-till cardboard method? And I'll explain to you what it is. So, they're presuming that this zone below, this zone here, the old zone, is full of weeds and a lot of times it's poor soil, so they don't want to deal with it. So they prefer to leave the soil poor forever and just build on top of it. So it's like a parking lot mentality. And why I'm really anxious about this whole setup is they are now calling for 3 layers of cardboard here. Because what's going on is they've been noticing that these, Bermuda grasses, and they're sneaking through the cardboard and coming out. So they want to actually have this solid barrier so that the weeds don't get to the surface here. So what is the issue with this? The issue is, in my opinion, is they are too lazy to clean up this zone. They don't want to clean up this original zone. They don't want to dig it. They don't want to remove the weeds. They don't want to do any of that work. So this cardboard method is a lazy man's method, and it never has a 5-year plan involved in it. So what I mean by that is, if I cultivated this soil down to here, and let's say I put 4 bags of chicken manure or whatever in here, compost, all these microorganisms that are living in this space have new energy, new food. They have something to chew on. By doing everything on top of the cardboard, there is this separation. These microorganisms can't even get into this zone. They're blocked off. So why would I do this to my soil? The only reason I would do this is if I wanted to rapidly have a garden on top of my original soil, which might not be good, which might be good. But by conditioning these two soils, by joining them up, I'm getting a much better result in my garden. There's no question about it. This result for a 5-year plan is much better than constantly adding 6 inches, 4 inches on top. Now, if I had to put a price tag on this, how much it costs every year to put 4 inches on all my beds, it's got to be getting into the thousands if I'm a bigger area. Like if I had, let's say 500 square meters, I would say this layer every year is $1,000 in urban areas. And I don't even know what I'm getting, what this compost or soil they're going to deliver to me. I have very little of idea what the origin of it is. So that's why I feel it's better if you include your original soil. You actually cultivate this in so that the new compost is mixed on the top. You're not really aggressive. You're just basically, hoeing in or raking in the top layer. And when it rains, so let's say it rains, what happens is these new energy, this new energy in the new compost is going to leach into this zone with the water. So water energy is entering this zone, and what happens now is these roots have all this room and energy to move towards. We have to remember that when there's growth on top of soil or in soil, it is responsible. The plant gives 30% of its energy back to the soil. So 30% is coming back into this zone. And if there's cardboard here, that energy can't get down in here because this has already suffocated and is not doing well. I have lifted up in gardens cardboard or even some heavy-duty fabrics and stuff. This soil underneath has incredible problems. It's very dry. It's very sandy. This turns into a sandy material that has no life. So think about it. Sure, I'm the last person to argue that this system wouldn't work, this cardboard system. It works. Of course it works, because you're adding new energy all the time. It's like if you had a battery that's empty and you bought a brand new battery every year, it's going to work forever because you keep adding this energy to it. But what's really happening is you're not including the energy or the already established microorganisms and fungi and everything else that already lives in your soil. Why would I ignore this energy that lives inside my soil already? I want it to be part of the whole energy system. So let's get to no-till. No-till is very good, not an argument from me, but if no-till doesn't get any energy, if a soil in a no-till system isn't fed energy, it will die anyways. It has no ability to survive without new energy coming to it. And the new energy comes from this new compost and the plants giving 30% of their energy back to the soil. So if I'm blocking this off, my soil underneath has no hope of doing well, it has no hope of surviving, and it doesn't contribute to the energy that I need to grow really great food on top. So if you want a 6-month or a 2-year plan, use the cardboard, use the new compost every year. But if you want a master plan where you're actually including your soil, a 10-year plan, a 5-year plan, for heaven's sakes, add your old soil into the energy equation of creating this layer. Don't be lazy. Get your pitchfork out. Get rid of all the grasses and the weeds. Get rid of them as best you can. Put the new compost on top and mix it in a little bit, the top layer. Don't go crazy, you don't need to dig if this is pretty good. And you will notice that this will grow way better for you. It is more work, no doubt about it, but if you want to have a great garden into the future, this is a much better system.